Now, I'm gonna go out way on a limb here, that we all know the importance of believing in our child. But why is it that we find ways not to? And what do I mean? I mean, we say we do, but then we get triggered. We get triggered when we see things about our kids like, oh no, the kid is so lazy. Oh my goodness, my kid has ADD, no focus whatsoever. Oh my goodness, my kid can't read. Oh my goodness, he sucks at math. Oh my goodness, she's just like me. And I failed in entrepreneurship, and the characteristics I see in her that I see in myself, that was the reason for my failure. I see it in her. I mean, my kid's amazing. I love her. I mean, she's the best thing in the world for me. But I don't know why. I'm just really afraid they're just not going to succeed. Yeah. That happens all the time, and when we do that, when we start having these triggers and these judgments, it takes us away from believing in our kids 100%. And what ends up happening? We end up shoving them into a little box, like too lazy, can't focus, too weak, too excited, too antisocial, you know, like, or introvert. Like, there's all these little boxes we end up putting our kids depending on the day. And these boxes prevent us from really shining what we can be for our kids. And they feel it. That's the worst, because we actually say and do things to, sometimes we don't even say it, just our actions send a message to our kids. Friendly fire! And they feel a lack of belief. And then you expect them to go and face failure and all these things, and you're like, wonder why? Well, believe it or not, we are part of the reason. And I believe that's why this paradigm shift module is gonna bring up these type of things that I believe happen to all of us. Why? Because I've been in talks with thousands of parents in general, but then when we talk about entrepreneurship and supporting our kids, sometimes we wonder why, and we think we could reason them out of their own self-belief, but really a huge part of it is our commitment to try to figure out how to be 100% in belief that they are amazing, right? So what is the trick? And drum roll. Editors, you drum. We have to believe 100% in ourselves. Tuan, did you really say that? Did you really just say that? Honestly, are you going life coaching on us? Like, did you really say to believe in our kids? 100% we have to believe in ourselves? Yes, I did. But here's the thing, you know, I try to be a little practical when I say these things. And the interesting thing is, parents, when I say this to them or some people, they're like, okay, so yes, I admit it. These are things. And I admit it. I kind of project onto my kids. Yes, I admit all these things. But are you telling me that I have to believe 100% in my children before they could actually feel that I believe in them? No, not at all. There is an expression called the wounded healer. I mean, I just learned about it maybe within 3-4 months ago. But the wounded healer is someone who recognizes where they're at, but they make a conscious decision to move forward and own everything about them. And they're not gonna allow others to be blamed for what they have in their lives and who they are and the things that they experience and the thoughts that they have. The wounded healer is able to first do that and own their shizzle. That's right. But the other part of the wounded healer is to also know that just because we're wounded does not mean we cannot support, right? So you can still fully support your children. Let them know you believe in them 100%. But it's when you recognize it's your own trigger, you own it. You don't blame them for what you feel. And so how does this work? Well, it takes a process. And I like to kind of compare, working out. I wake up and sometimes I don't want to work out. Sometimes I don't want to meditate. I'm like, I don't want to meditate. I don't want to meditate. I don't want to meditate. But then I just have to get into it. And I just get connected with my breath and my body. And I start feeling it. But some days I just don't feel it at all. But when I do consistently, it works. So what am I using this example to explain right now? Which is, what we need to do is we need to be more aware when we get triggered into projecting and not believing our kids. We need to be aware of the words we say to our children. We need to be aware of the actions, how we treat them, how we hold them, how we look at them, how we not hold them, how we not look at them, how we not embrace them, right? We need to be really aware of this. And first thing is to make sure that whatever that happens, we do not let the emotion push us to make those actions. We need to be able to put a stop in it and remove our emotions. And that's why I use this exercise example. I have so much emotion around working out and eating healthy and all these things, but I just remove the emotion and I do what is right and I trust in the process. So what is right, in my opinion, what is more effective in my opinion, is to recognize these triggers where you're about to box your kid in by projecting fear and not believing them, and you say the right words and you do the right action. Because that's why I mentioned the previous module, you as the guardian parent have so much power over your children and the people that look up to you. Including your friends even, right? And probably yourself, right? With that amount of power, we need to be super aware. And so removing the emotions and just staying consistent with an action. And that consistent creates a habit, which there it's automatic and a new result will appear. And so I'm gonna pull something out a little bit from a gentleman named Ryan Walter, a former Montreal Canadiens hockey player. But let me just continue with this thought here, all right? So now we have, we are triggered, we project, we got to remove our emotions, make the right action. We have a lot of power. Now, just imagine, we're now at a point where you 100% believe in yourself. Like, I'm good, Tuan, I'm good. And now you feel like I'm gonna be able to show my kids that I support them fully without even worrying about it, because I feel like I believe in myself 100%. I'm gonna own my shizzle and I'm not gonna blame them for anything. It's gonna be wonderful. The amazing thing is that for some weird reason, kids, and I bet you guys can relate to this, is that somehow we find a loophole. Yep, a loophole to still not believing in ourselves. Our parents, our friends, the people who love us, that we love, fully believe in us, and we're like, I don't know why, but I still don't believe in myself. And the loophole, especially with kids, that they find is how you perceive others. And there's many different things that we do that send a message to our kids in how you perceive others. And they will receive it as you comparing yourself or them to someone. I'll give you an example. So many times, and I've been guilty of this, is we take videos or we take examples of amazing kids that we think our kids can relate to and say, hey, look at this. Here's, Alexandra. She's, your age and she's in grade 3 or whatever, blah, 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 whatever. And she's accomplished this much. Amazing. Hey, you can do it too. That's pretty cool. We can show all these positive examples of other kids doing similar things that our kids can possibly relate to and feel it might relate to them because they're the same age and same all the check. But why does that not work the way we think it's gonna work? So of course the opposite sucks too, is by, showing things that are not positive by saying, hey, why aren't you like this? Why aren't you like that? So let's not even go there. That's not right. When I say not right, my opinion, I'm not saying like there's a definitive right or wrong once again, but we know that hurts the child, right? But we think when we bring in positive examples, it's a good thing. And in their opinion, it is a way to compare. Even when you make positive comments about other people, for example, when you make negative comments about other people, other kids, especially let's say Johnny failed at something and didn't do well. Some parents say, oh, he failed, whatever. They create this opinion of Johnny. But I know, because as you'll see from, if you watch module 1.2, I run an anonymous father group, which mothers jump in every now and then. And they have admitted that they've tried to use reverse psychology by saying, you don't want to be like Johnny. I mean, the guy's a complete failure because, he's too lazy and he plays too many video games. And that's why he's having all these problems. That's why he'll never succeed in life, So you use this other person as an example, hopefully to teach your kids a lesson. Funny thing is, subconsciously or in the back of their heads, they won't tell you that story just ruined them even more. Because you don't know this, and this happens often, and you've experienced this yourself, which is, Dad, you tell me you believe in me, but I don't believe you. And I'm like, I do. But they won't tell you why they don't believe you. They're like, in their head, they're like, man, that thing that Daddy talked about Johnny, Alexandra, Shirley, Mary, Tito, his opinion of them really, really scares me because I feel like I'm just like them. I feel I have all the problems they have. And if Dad doesn't believe in those kids, there's no way he could believe in me. No way. So the final point here in this section, which is about how do you believe 100% in your kids, is, drum roll again, how do you believe in all kids 100%? To believe 100% in your kids, you have to go through a journey of believing in yourself, and therefore a journey believing in all kids and everyone, which means is an act of removing judgment from everyone. From everyone. Does that sound like mind-blowing impossible? Yes. Do you not like what I just said? Yes. Turn off. Adios. I'm cool with that. But if you see the light, you see where I'm running with this, then the next step to do is, while we're on the same wounded healer journey, is first, what's the next action we can do to take, to whether words or action or whatever, to let our kids know that we love them, that we fully believe in them. Next is, where are the triggers that we need to own and say, yo, let's take some more positive actions for ourselves. And lastly, have we caught ourselves? When was the last time I did this kind of like reverse psychology thing to my kids? And it's time to let it go. Now, when is it okay to show videos of other kids? I'll tell you how I've done it, because I think it is important to see other examples of incredible people that your kids can relate to. It can only happen when they do it themselves. So with my kids, I've said, hey, you know, after a while, you see in the next module, like now I know it's meaningful to them. I know kind of how they want to contribute to things that are meaningful to them in their life, with their profession. I would say, can you give me an example of this? Whether in YouTube or Instagram or a story, or tell me about someone, just tell me about someone. They start telling me things about other individuals. And then what I've done is like, so for example, let's say it's some YouTuber named Emma, and she's, you know, maybe a ballerina, and they love her story and they like everything. So they talk to Emma to me, like they talked about Emma to me. And what I ended up doing was I would find these videos and I would say, hey, is this the Emma that you're talking about? Because I love this video. I love the message said, and she's freaking hilarious. She's so funny, right? So we start connecting on other people that they admire, but they're the ones who bring it up, right? And that's when you're able to bring sometimes, oh, like, hey, this person here, check out this other, you know, story I read. Kind of reminds me of Emma. Let me know, right? But there's no pressure. But you've compared them with someone to Emma, and they're like, you know what? Read the story, not really like Emma. Oh, okay, cool. That's cool. Emma's still the one, right? Great, right? So there's a way to bring up other people, to bring examples and anecdotes and lessons and life stories for your children. But you never want to just pop out of nowhere without any reason and thinking it's going to happen in a positive way. Sounds good? Hopefully that helps. Let's start believing 100% in ourselves, our kids, and all the people in the world. Much love. Peace.